We interrupt NBC's special coverage of President Donald Trump's inauguration for 12 News.
Right, and it is one of the biggest political comebacks in our history. Donald Trump sworn in to be the 47th president of the United States.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
Trump is promising a revolution of common sense and taking charge as Republicans assume unified control of Washington, setting out to reshape the country's institutions. Trump acting swiftly after the ceremony. Executive orders have been prepared for his signature to clamp down on border crossings, increase fossil fuel development, and end diversity and inclusion programs across the federal government.
Immigration was President Trump's top campaign issue, and obviously that has a big impact on us here in Arizona. Today, the president's expected to declare a state of emergency at our border, among a long list of other border-related executive orders.
12 News journalist Bram Resnick looks back on Arizona's attempts to crack down on undocumented immigrants and how they ended.
Arizona has seen this before.
If you don't like the way I operate, you go get your own police department.
Made-for-TV immigration sweeps targeting undocumented immigrants.
I'm only working here, okay? Only working.
More than 80 workplace raids, some forcing businesses to shut down.
And this is a serious problem. We've arrested over 560 people.
2 decades ago, Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio tapped anxieties over what was then a record surge of migrants at the Arizona border.
I will not tolerate racial discrimination or racial profiling.
Republican Governor Jan Brewer grabbed the national spotlight in 2010 by signing the toughest immigration law in the country. It helped her win election in the fall.
I stood my ground for America, and I don't regret that.
But a federal judge ruled Arpaio did racially profile Latino citizens.
Arpaio today had a really tough day.
And the U.S. Supreme Court struck down most of Brewer's SB 1070. The High Court ruled that the federal government, not the states, polices immigration.
So now moving forward, today President Trump is expected to set the stage to use the federal government's power at the border in a way we have not seen before. Let's head up to the newsroom now to check in with 12 News journalist Bram Resnick.
And Bram, we know that you've got a panel of experts behind you, and you guys are going to take a closer look at the president's immigration orders and how they affect Arizona.
That's right, Tram. We're still taking them all in. At least 10 orders on the border and immigration, starting with that state of emergency we mentioned earlier on. I'm joined today by retired Major General Mick McGuire, former Adjutant General of the Arizona National Guard, former Senate candidate as well. State Senator John Kavanaugh of Fountain Hills. He has a long record of legislation to curb illegal immigration. Senator Annalise Ortiz of Maryvale, her district, LD 24, has the largest percentage of Latinos in the state, and immigration attorney Yasser Sanchez. Thanks very much to all of you for joining us today. There are a lot of moving parts in these orders, about 200 orders in all. Donald Trump pledged to shut down the border and deport 11 million undocumented immigrants. Quick question, yes or no? Would these orders accomplish that?
I don't think these orders would accomplish that. It will lead to slowing down legal immigration into this country, but this will clearly, specifically militarizing the border and shutting off the CBP-1 program. What it will do is it will lead to greater illegal immigration.
Greater illegal immigration.
Yeah, we have to look at the humanitarian crisis that is on our border, and we do have to put this in perspective that we've had some of the lowest crossings in recent months in decades. And so a lot of this is just pure political theater, but for those people who will be hurt, this is going to be traumatic. It will result in families being separated, including families who have been here in Arizona and part of our community for decades.
John Kavanaugh, I just should add that border crossings are at a 5-year low right now. Your take on this, yes or no? Will it meet Trump's goals?
It'll get him very close. I am shocked and awed by the magnitude of President Trump's battle against illegal immigration. He will shut down that border. There will be very few people coming across that border, which, by the way, will free up the Border Patrol for more internal enforcement. And he's going to let all the stops out. 10 executive orders. I'm sure we'll go through them as we go through the show. But he's closing down everything. And I think he's going to have a lot of people deported, and I think he's going to convince a lot of people that maybe they should go back to their country and get online legally to come here.
General McGuire.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Brett. I think that the biggest change we're going to see tonight is that not unlike in January of 2021 when President Biden repealed immediately all of Trump's executive orders, we're going to see a reinstatement of those that were legally sufficient last time around. And what that meant for Arizona is that we'll get an authorization that Governor Hobbs will have to decide on whether she wants to accept the federal money to mobilize National Guard under the command and control of General Muhlenbeck. If she says yes, the federal government will pay for it. If she says no, those troops will be redirected to Texas under a governor that will. That's what happened in 2020, and it'll be interesting to see how Newsom, Hobbs, and Lujan Gresham react to the offer to send what was 1,070 guardsmen when I was commanding general.
The Democratic governors in the West you're referring to there. Talk about the law here. He wants to deploy, it appears, active duty troops, not just guard troops. Well, and what can these troops do that has not been done before?
Well, they can go back to what we were doing when I was the adjutant general, which is providing all the sustainment, support, logistics, medical assistance, flight operations, and the rest under the command and control of the governor in alignment with our state authorities outside of posse comitatus. If he decides, or it's refused, that it all is active component Title 10 military forces, then I'm sure our legal friends can tell us posse comitatus will then come into effect. But the effect on Arizona will be that the personnel that could help stem some of the economic issues, help with this, and enforce the Remain in Mexico policy will not be in Arizona. They'll be directed to Texas.
It's a big kind of political decision for Governor Hobbs. Real quick, explain what posse comitatus is, because we're going to hear a lot about that.
Posse comitatus is a law, a federal law, that talks about using uniformed active component Title 10 military. It's illegal to use them to police the citizens of the United States. National Guardsmen are the only part of the military that can serve in 3 different statuses under state active duty, which Governor Hobbs asked for in her term to sustain OFO down in Yuma. And the state pays for it, so Senator Kavanaugh and the appropriators have to fund that. Or Title 32, which is this unique carve-out, which is federal money, governor control.
Okay, real quick, sir.
I have no doubt that Governor Hobbs will cooperate fully with the National Guard on the border because she already stated that she wants to help with border security. So how could she not have the National Guard there?
Okay, gonna have to end it there. We'll get a response from you guys when we come back a little bit later. Troy?
All right, Bram, thank you so much for that. We will check in with you throughout the hour.